Private member statements. I call the member for
Temporary
Charleston.
Speaker. Thank you, Madam Temporary Speaker. Today I rise to acknowledge the wonderful work of the Windale Interagency Community Alliance, known as WICA, what they do for the electorate of Charlestown. WICA is a partnership made up of local agencies and the Windale community, all with the same ambitions and long-term goals for their community. Representation from organisations, groups and residents within the Windale community are working together for the betterment of Windale. Last Friday I had the privilege of hosting the Minister for Sport, Graham Annesley, in my electorate, and we presented a cheque for $5,000 to WICA under the New South Wales Government 2011-12 Sport and Recreation Participation Program. Increasing participation in sport and physical activity is a key priority for the New South Wales Government, and grassroots projects run in local communities are a great way to target people and groups that need a little extra help to participate in sport. WICA have been awarded the grant to sponsor young sports people in the Windale community to enable them to participate in sport and physical activity. We want to ensure that our young people have the best possible start in life, and this grant will enable young people to engage that otherwise may not have had the opportunity to do so. One particular focus for this money is to ensure all young people in Windale have the opportunity to learn to swim. The Hunter is blessed with beautiful beaches and waterways, and it is imperative that all young people have the skills to enjoy these assets safely. I would like to acknowledge the work of the team at WICA, President Susan McQuillan, Vice President Cassandra Ryan, Secretary Craig Parker, Treasurer Faye Millward, and committee members Rosalie Newburn, Larissa Williams, Marilyn Lettuce and Peter Field. I would also like to acknowledge the work of Wendy Williams for her contribution for WICA up until her recent break from the organisation. This is another excellent example of the New South Wales Government working with the local community to ensure the best possible outcomes for the people of Windale. WICA are a great example of a proud and strong community supporting themselves. Windale is perhaps the strongest community in my electorate in terms of their commitment to supporting those less fortunate than themselves. They raise money both directly with government by applying for relevant grants and by weekend barbecues at a local retailer. They also produce a fantastic bi-monthly newsletter, The Phoenix. The Phoenix is distributed at local shops and businesses, and invariably the local community take all the available copies within 24 hours of its distribution. This demonstrates the relevance of the publication to the community and also the enthusiasm with which the community wants to hear their own stories, engage with themselves and participate in community activities. The Phoenix editorial team clearly do a wonderful job. The magazine has a roving reporter, or as members of WICA refer to this reporter, the raving reporter, who seeks out local stories and brings them to the wider community. I'd also like to acknowledge Housing New South Wales, who work with the Windale community, on a transformation strategy which will see many old substandard residences being knocked down and replaced with more modern dwellings, which will lead to better social outcomes and therefore further strengthen the community. The team at Housing New South Wales work tirelessly for the community in Windale, and I would like to commend the team at the Charlestown office, ably led by Dallas Hicks, who supports the community both with housing and social needs. So, Madam Speaker, Windale is one of the wonderful communities within my electorate. It's a community which grew up as a major public housing development in the 1950s, but it's a community which now stands very much on its own 2 feet, and one which I think has got an absolutely fantastic future. So organisations like WICA obviously are one of the sinews that help bind that community together, and with the work that Housing New South Wales put in and other organisations such as the Windale Junior Rugby League Club, I think Windale is a community that's going to go from strength to strength. So thank you very much for the indulgence.